I'm here with.
Joel Alexander.
What problem is your business solving?
We're helping real estate agents become more productive, close deals faster, and yeah, that's it.
How are we doing that?
We're giving them a voice-activated CRM that enables them to basically voice note into their system and complete actions on the go.
How old were you when you first started this business?
22. But we've pivoted. We've had like a lot of different versions of what we're doing, but in the last 12 months, this is our focus and where we've gained a lot of traction.
How many times have you pivoted business ideas?
7.
What have you learned about pivoting business ideas the number of times you've done it?
Do it fast and learn a lot and don't sort of like repeat the same mistakes again.
How have you managed to keep a team together through these different pivots?
I don't know. To be honest, I have no idea. Just sort of showed up every day and showed them that I had the same want for it that I did on day one, every single day during the 4 years that we've been sort of at it. I think that helps.
So in a nutshell, if I had to ask you, what do you look for in a partner before you start the journey with them?
Yeah, so in terms of co-founders, what I saw in Drishti was, well, we both went to high school together. So it's like loyalty above sort of skill set for both of us. It's like I'm not a perfect CEO and she wasn't a perfect CTO when we started out, but we sort of believed that we both had the same degree of integrity in running the business and the commitment that we had to each other to sort of see the vision that we had together through. And then obviously when we had Harman come on as co-founders through a referral. So I think it matters, like if you don't already know the person for a long time, then it needs to come from a place that is a little bit more vetted and credible to you. So that's how we met Harman after that as well.
How old were you when you first raised money?
23.
How much money did you raise when you were 22?
$2.5 million.
Where did you raise $2.5 million?
In Silicon Valley.
How did you convince executives in Silicon Valley to invest in your idea?
Honestly, I just dreamt really big and people in Silicon Valley believe in going big. So yeah, that's kind of what it was.
You're someone who studied in Dubai, you went to London, and then you raised money in Silicon Valley. How did you forge that path? Because a lot of people struggle with taking leaps that big.
Yeah, so I cold messaged my way there, I would say. Cold messaged a ton of people in New York, which then led to me meeting people in San Francisco, which then led to me sort of getting into an accelerator out there, which then gave us $125,000 for our first ever sort of financing round. That's similar to how Stripe, Airbnb, when they started their journeys, they also got into a similar sort of accelerator, 125K. That's how they got their start. And then now they've become the multi-billion-dollar companies they are today.
So how long have you been running a profitable business for?
1 month, yeah. But 12 months ago is when we sort of stepped into this real estate sort of world, started commercializing a product. We had about $800 in revenue in the end of November. So that's where we started. And today we're profitable.
Dude, that's amazing.
And now, last month, we did $56,000 in revenue. So, yeah.
And what's your growth rate been through this process?
So, for the last 10 months straight, since starting off sort of commercializing the product, 50% month over month.
Amazing. People say luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So, what sort of actions have you taken to make yourself more lucky?
I think it's about your batting average, right? Whether you're a baseball, cricket fan, it's kind of like how many shots in the net have you really taken before you go out to field, right? So, for me, it's just like, there were 1,000 people I messaged a really crappy cold message to before 50 people who I never knew agreed to come on my podcast that were millionaires and multi-million follower creators, etc. Crafting that personal sort of perfect message and understanding what people like and don't like and how much persistence there needs to be was all a learned thing. It's not something that I was born with naturally. Yeah.
Where do you see the future of SaaS companies?
So I think there was a solid 20 years, 25 years where SaaS companies could be horizontal and you could win. You could be Salesforce, you could be HubSpot, and you could cater to a food and beverage business, and you could cater to a real estate company and you'd do fine, right? In fact, that would enable your prospects of growing even more and help you become a $100 billion company, $200 billion company, etc. Because of how AI is going, the most valuable thing that you have as a business is actually not software, it's distribution, right? It's the customer base that you have and how deep you can go and entrench yourself in their workflows to enhance their productivity, etc. Now, the truth is a lot of these horizontal businesses are going to start losing their on these sort of specific niche down use cases because they don't know how, for instance, a real estate agent's life is. And as Salesforce, real estate isn't even in my top 10 revenue generators. So I'm not even going to care about that use case. So it's going to be a lot more $10 billion vertical AI companies or vertical SaaS companies versus more $100 billion SaaS companies, I'd say. There's a lot more $1 trillion companies that are going to come at the infrastructure level for AI, but that's like more on the sort of LLM level and storage level and security level and all of that kind of
like
stuff.
Like data centers and whatnot.
Yeah.
So you raised $3 million in capital. What do people not get about raising VC money? What do they not really look at? What do they tend to overlook?
I think people think it's a very easy process. It's actually way harder to get VC funding than it is to get into like Stanford, I would say. It's harder than like an undergraduate application to get into a prestigious university like that to raise VC funding. So how hard the journey actually is to raise that capital in the first place. And I think people think that if you have a normal business, like that's making, let's say, $1 million a year or something like that, you should get funding. But actually, that's not how it works. You shouldn't get venture capital funding for that. You should get SME financing for that. Venture capital funding is for ideas that are going to be $1 billion, $10 billion, $100 billion companies, right? It's for massive risk outcomes because you have this whole power law situation where a VC invests in, let's say, 20 companies and one of them will return the entire fund. So if you have $100 million to invest and you invest that in 20 companies, 19 of them might fail, but one might return the entire fund and get you $1 billion.
Once you secured funding, what did you learn about spending that money? How would you go about spending that money? What sort of decisions would you have to make along those lines?
I think for me, it was always about sort of like making sure you pay fairly, regardless of whether your people work, in my case, like if they're working in India or whether they're working in Dubai, they should make what that role is worth to you, not what the market necessarily pays. And that was kind of my philosophy. Turns out the world is a much harsher place than that and you need to pay market. And that's like what I learned, right? Like people will say that's poor business logic. Why would you pay the same to a person in India versus in Dubai or New York or etc. So for me, the philosophy was like pay to the best of my ability to my people, because I know so many people around me that are not business owners and there are employees that have real responsibilities, etc. And that's where that came from. But increasingly, I think what I've noticed about spending money is you spend more time on the drawing board and in the planning stage than you do on the direct building stage. So you know exactly what to sort of allocate. You should literally be hiring for oxygen. You shouldn't be hiring for vibes. You should be hiring when your team is literally at like breakneck capacity and you absolutely need resources. Everything's like going all over the place and you just need that one extra resource to help everyone take the foot off the gas a little bit. I'm talking about the early stage. I'm not talking about when you're a mature company, etc. But in the early stage, it should be like oxygen to hire a person.
Oh, perfect, man. It's super hot. I think we're done over here. Thank you for the insights. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah.